Welcome back, piggies, to another episode of the Pigskin Pals podcast with your hosts, Dayne and AJ. Today, Dayne and I wanted to go over some trades, but our leagues are pretty dry at the moment, so we decided to go on Fantasy Calc, who has just like recent trades from all over the world, wherever you want to call it, from real people. Picked quite a few of those, and we're going to go over those trades and see what happens. See, maybe you can get insight into what we think about the game, how we play the game, and how we make our own trades for our own team. So let's get stuck into it.
As AJ mentioned in the intro, we're going to be playing a little game of this or that. We're just going to be going over some trades that we found. So the first one is a big doozy because of some recent news with Jordan Addison, who just got arrested for getting a DUI. Unfortunate circumstances, but he was traded for Najee Harris and Jerry Jeudy. What are your thoughts, AJ?
I mean, I don't hate trying to trade Jordan Addison away. I also don't think that the situation he's in will probably matter all that much going forward for him. I'm not really the biggest Jordan Addison guy in general, so like I'm always okay with trading him. But this is probably not enough for me to get rid of him personally. Like I think Najee's good. I think he's gonna have a good year, but I am just like not sure what will happen with Jerry Jeudy in his new situation. So I'm not confident enough to basically go for Najee Harris plus a question mark for Addison, who's a young receiver who had a great first year. The situation that he's in right now doesn't like deter me off him enough to go this low in a trade.
I'm a little different because it deters me a little bit because this is his second like car offense that he's been caught with. So like there is a track record
that's fair.
Isn't really looking good, and like with this trade you do have to account most likely he is going to get some sort of punishment or suspension, especially with pre-existing history. So you're going to be like losing this player for a little bit, and instead you're getting two players that are hopefully playable if they're just healthy the whole time. So I mean, it's tough not to be biased too because I have Najee Harris.
Oh, that's
Jerry
true.
Jeudy
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that.
On my dynasty team. So, like, realistically, would I do this trade if just in our league? I don't think I would.
You couldn't.
Well, no, just because I already have. Yeah, I need my running backs, and running backs are pretty tough to come by.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would shoot with Najee Harris and Jerry Jeudy. See what Jerry is like in his new offense, and
I don't hate it.
Hope for that.
I think if I could get, because I like Najee so much, or I like both Najee and Jaylen Warren quite a bit this year, but if I get a little bit better of a wide receiver, like obviously it couldn't be too steep of an upgrade because then it just feels like you're getting too much for Addison probably, but I just need a little bit of an upgrade there. Jeudy, maybe just like a more established guy in a situation hasn't changed, like that type of thing where you know what you're getting, then I'd probably think, okay, I'll do it. But I think I just don't know what's going on with Jeudy.
Overall, a pretty even trade. It sounds like it's a little imbalanced for you. Would like a third with Jeudy and Harris push it over the edge for you, or
I don't know.
Just want a better player?
I think I would just need a less of a question mark. I don't even think Judy's necessarily going to be bad. I just don't know what he's going to happen. So I would just want a guy that I know I could play. For sure.
Well, you did mark him as you're interested on my team.
That's true. But I wouldn't pay Jordan Addison for him.
No. All right. Moving on to the next one. We got.
This is a goofy one.
A gross one. Javonte Williams and Nick Chubb.
ACL brothers.
Yeah, and multiple ligaments too. I think they both had
they were both
some devastating injury. This one's pretty easy for me just because the seriousness of one, like Nick Chubb's, seemed a lot more serious to me. I don't think he's going to be playing that good, and he's towards the end of his career too, just with age. So I would go with Javonte and hope for the upside there. I think this one in my mind's really easy.
I agree. I think the only thing that would make me go maybe go Nick Chubb is if I have like a Jerome Ford or something like that, like on my team, and I can hold off with Jerome for this year or for however long, and then Nick Chubb can come in later. Then I might be inclined to do it because I think Nick Chubb's ceiling probably he's way more proven in the past than Javonte ever has been. So I feel like if I have that like handcuff, then I'd do it, but otherwise I'd go Javonte.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like this one. This is one that could happen in our league too because Dayne has Ayuk and Riley has both Ramondre and Mike Evans. But yeah, it's Brandon Ayuk for Ramondre Stevenson and Mike Evans.
Brandon Ayuk is my favorite player ever. I'm never trading him.
Yeah, I know that's the case.
And yeah, no, there's no way I would trade a 26-year-old, 12, top 15 wide receiver for 30-year-old Mike Evans and a declining running back already. I would choose Brandon Ayuk.
Obviously you're a bit more you have a bigger stance on this because you're in love with Brandon Ayuk and he's on your team. But I don't know. I think even looking at your team, like you have Chris Godwin maybe, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, let's say you didn't have him. I think this is almost like the exact type of trade that your team might need in terms of running back wise too. Like Mike Evans and Brandon Ayuk.
Gibson.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that really matters.
No.
But like Brandon Ayuk and Mike Evans, like just points per game wise, probably not very different. And I'm sure Mike Evans, like, they might almost be exactly the same. That wouldn't surprise me. And then getting an actual running back, when I think Ramondre is probably pretty disrespected at this point. Like, I don't know a single person who's like high on Ramondre Stevenson, and I don't really know why. Like, I get it. He's like a running back, and he didn't have a great year, but like, I don't know. Like, he has Gibby behind him. Is that still it? Or is there someone else there? Like, I see no reason. Like, he's got on a bad team.
I can't even think of the third.
Exactly. There's no reason people should be this low on Ramondre, but they are. So, like, this is a trade I would genuinely think about just in general, because maybe I'm not as high on Ayuk as you are. I don't know if he's really ever going to butt into that, like, superstar guy or whatever.
No,
so
but I think he stays where he is. I don't see him going any lower.
Sure. I don't know. I think this is a pretty even trade.
Another thing I would consider in this trade is, one, I don't think the Bucs offense is going to be nearly as good as they were last year losing Dave Canales. They're going to have a lot of things to figure out and just like kind of rework their offense. So the Bucs offense and the Pats offense, they're not going to be very good. The Niners offense, though, one of the best in the NFL. I'm going to take that better team and the better player of everyone in this thing and
that's fair.
Ayuk. But like I said at the top, I am very biased.
Yeah. And I think if your team's spread thin, right, like you need a couple pieces, I think this is a pretty reasonable trade to go. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh, this is like shit. Like, you just like fully got destroyed. Like, I think if you need to get a couple more pieces, get a little bit more depth, this is a perfectly fine trade.
This one is juicy.
This is interesting. It's Sam Laporta for Mark Andrews and a second, which is crazy turnaround on Laporta's value, obviously, since last year. And almost Mark Andrews as well. I know where I stand, but I'm curious where you stand.
I think this is a good trade to get Laporta. Like, this almost seems like a value buy of Laporta. By no means am I like a huge Laporta truther or stan. Like, initially looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm taking Mark Andrews and a pick hands down all the time. But Mark Andrews is 28 already. It's almost seems like a steal to just trade tight end that's been injured and hobbled, and just one small, like, a second round pick's not a shit ton of value. That to get the number one tight end from last year, who was a rookie. Yeah, I think I would do the Laporta side.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate going Laporta. Like, I think you can't really go wrong either way in my eyes. I think I would lean the pick side. I look at them pretty similarly, Andrews and Laporta. Like, yeah, you're going to get more years coming up out of Laporta. I think Andrews will be around for another good 3-4 years probably, and if that's the case and I can get a second round pick, I think I feel pretty good about that. And then lose out 3 years afterwards or whatever it would be when Laporta's still around. I'm sure I'll have figured out my tight end by that point, how I'd move on. So I don't know, I think I'd go to the pick, but I'm also on this like tear of just like wanting to get better picks, so I'm probably a little biased too.
Yeah, it is an interesting, like, I'm all in for just packaging a player and a pick to kind of upgrade, but it's kind of reverse in this because I do think Andrews is going to have a better year this year than Laporta, so it's almost like a long-term upgrade.
It's a long-term play, yeah. And because I would bet that Andrews probably finishes above Laporta this year, but I mean, I didn't expect Laporta to be as good as he was last year, so you never know. James Conner at a third for a 2024 round 2, so this would have been this draft and not next year, so keep that in mind. I just realized that. So
potentially just Trey Benson.
It's possible we don't know where the second round
James
pick
Conner
is.
in a third.
Yeah, because think about if we're thinking running backs in the second round, Trey Benson, Blake Corum.
Let's try and put a pick to this to try and make it even. In my head, I would say anything like the 205 and after.
I was going to say
take
206.
James Conner.
I was going to say this was like a 206 to make it somewhat even. I think it's close. It's close because I think James Conner is good, but it really depends
you want
who's there.
Leggett or James Conner?
I think if this is a 2025 second round pick, I'm probably more inclined to go 2020 or the pick. Not only because like I know what already happened in the second round this year, and I'm not like super buzzed about like most of those guys in the mid second. But like a 2025 second, you can turn into anything. Like the flexibility of the 2025 second, I think I'd be a little bit down for. But I think I'm also on the James Conner side at this point.
Yeah, if we're talking the trade right now, I'm taking James Conner.
Yeah,
because I would hold on to that player, and hopefully he just stays healthy in the season, and I don't see it being hard to flip him for a 2025 second later on for someone that's looking for a push.
No, that's very true. Yeah, I think I'm definitely on the James Conner side. I think he's going to have a really good year for sure. So I could see both sides, I guess, but if it's 25 second, I might take that, but I think right now I'm on Conner. personally. This is a guy that we both like, I think.
Gookie Kirk.
Yeah. 2024
I do like him.
second and a 2025 third for Kirk.
I would take Kirk. I think his value is actually really high right now. Like, it's almost above what it should be, right? Because isn't it, what, like in the 60s? ADP
Yeah, I know.
or
He's
something
pretty,
like that?
it's pretty high. He's
Low
got a lot of buzz right
60s?
now. Yeah, he's got a lot of buzz.
Pick, you'd be like your wide receiver, which...
I would love Christian Kirk as my wide receiver 3.
Hmm.
And
But, like, his ceiling is a wide receiver 2. I don't think
absolutely.
he's ever gonna... He was a wide receiver 1, like, that first year in Jacksonville, but I don't really see that ever repeating.
I could. I mean, it's not like it got a whole... Like, what, Brian Thomas came in, Calvin Ridley left. That's basically the entire difference.
Gabriel Davis.
Oh, Gabe Davis as well, to be fair. Yeah.
He's really nothing, but...
Yeah, I know, but it's a guy that can get targets.
Deep target touchdowns that's going to be going away from him.
2024, let's say this is Xavier Leggett, and 2025, round 3. Who are you taking?
Kirk. Easily.
I think I agree. I think I agree, too.
What if
I
it
think
was
I go
Lad
Kirk.
McConkey in a third? I think
Lad McConkey in a third? Oh, God.
That's
I think I might be lower on Lad McConkey than most people, but, like, it still would be hard to say no to that, because that's the type of guy where it's like, give him a game or two, and all of a sudden his value is just, like, insanely high. Lad McConkey.
They're almost in, like, the same type of player, right? Like a smaller slot, super athletic, but can demand targets.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think if it's Lad McConkey, I go Lad. But I think if it's like a Xavier Leggett, oh man, even if it's Keon Coleman, I think I go Keon Coleman, honestly.
He is pretty old, too.
Any guy, like any Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey, who's like, once they have 2 good games, they'll skyrocket, I'd probably take this deal. But if it gets like, I don't think anyone really cares about Xavier Leggett at this point. Even if he has a good game or 2, I think no one has faith.
I'm going to buy him end of the year, just so I can put him on my...
just so you can have him.
Yeah. Get him on my team.
Get him on your team.
Yeah, it sounds like we're leaning towards the picks, which is interesting because right away looking at this, I was like, I want Kirk.
Oh yeah, Kirk. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this is a.
I think it's picks.
Pick one. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I
don't know what about. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one for sure. From this episode, Drake London for JJ McCarthy straight up. I would like to note, since we didn't talk about it earlier, this is Superflex 12 team, start 9, half PPR, pretty standard, pretty small. 4-point passing touchdowns, and that all these trades are.
I got no freaking idea what I would do.
Dude, it's. I think this is one of the ones where it's pretty roster dependent, almost, and we don't have that information.
If you have 2 startable quarterbacks, I'm going Drake London.
If JJ McCarthy is my third quarterback, I am absolutely going Drake London here. But if like my second quarterback afterwards is going to be Derek Carr. Boo.
That's who I was gonna say.
Then I don't know if I could do this because I have no faith.
Straight
in
up
Derek
at
Carr.
Ben, who got JJ McCarthy. I don't know what we were doing today.
That's true. That's so funny. Yeah. So I think this is pretty roster dependent. I think straight up, don't worry about roster. Just like looking at the players. Oh God, I was just kind of like shit talking Drake London. I feel like last time.
Yeah, I'm not a big Drake London fan. I'm not a JJ McCarthy fan either.
I know that's the tough thing though. It's like this is not a quarterback where I'm like.
I'm going Drake London.
I'll go JJ. I'm glad that you said it so I didn't have to because I was really torn but I didn't want both of us to go JJ, so I like that from you. I see
a lot of people at the end of this year, let's say they both have bad years, I could see a lot of people still making excuses for Drake London.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And not making excuses for JJ McCarthy.
That's true because a lot of people didn't like or don't like JJ McCarthy going into this year anyway. Yeah. So he has
the best wide receiver, one of the best wide receiver cores already. Like how can he not?
People are going to call him Zach Wilson 2.0, I think, if he has a bad year, and then he'll just be dead, and that'll be it. And so I think you might be right taking Drake London, but I'll go JJ. It's close, though, and I think it really is roster-dependent almost.
The 8th one.
My boy.
Your boy.
My boy. Amon-Ra St. Brown for Puka Nacua and a 25 forced.
Do we even have to talk about this? I'm smashing Pookie.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this does seem pretty crazy, right? Like, this is a premium for Amon-Ra. Like, I think Amon-Ra probably outscores Puka this year, but, like, not enough to account for a first-round pick, I don't think.
No. In my eyes, I think you can almost any receiver minus CD, Chase, and Jefferson for Puka.
I would probably agree.
Like, I don't know why you would pay...
Whoever's
buying Puka should be paying more.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think whoever is getting Puka in the first tier, you're a beast. I don't know how you pulled this straight off, but, like, good on you. Because I think that's a pretty easy one for me, and it sounds like for you, too.
Probably like a huge Lions fan or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, it has to be, right? It's like he's in the league with a guy who, like, knows that he's the biggest Lions fan of all time, so, like, they're just paying, he needs to pay a premium for Amon-Ra or something like that.
Biggest Stafford hater, too.
Yeah, just like a combo, the 1-2 punch. That is actually, like, so perfect. Stafford hater, Amon-Ra lover. Yeah, I'll make you overpay for Amon-Ra. I would almost bet you that is guaranteed what happened here, but I still think it's fun. Speaking of the Lions again.
Yeah.
This is one that hits home for me, too, because I got Jared Goff.
This is another one that you can answer. I'll answer here. I'm taking the first. Depending on if my team is competing or not, I'm going to take the first. If I'm like a quarterback away, I got loaded up on running backs and wide receivers. I just need like a stable QB too. I'll go Goff. But otherwise, I'm going that first round pick.
It would be hard for me to give away Jared Goff for just a first. My team actually could probably handle it. It'd probably be something I should do because I have a decent amount of quarterbacks. But if you're trading this with someone who, like, if someone's giving you a first for Goff, they're probably going to be trying to win, like, right away. And this first, if it's theirs, is probably going to be 110 or later if they're really trading this first for Goff. So that makes me feel a little bit sus because it's like, do I really, like, what was there at 110 this year? Like, Bo Nix and, like, Lad McConkey and those. Am I really taking Jared Goff? But then
worthy, yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like I could also get lucky, and this team that I'm trying to is no good, ends up being no good, and I get a 106 or 105, and I feel pretty good about that. So it's a tough call. I think you're probably hitting on the head where I would give him away if I felt comfortable without him.
Give it away now.
So
what I'm hearing though is 2025 class is stacked.
Isn't every draft class stacked though?
Running back stacked.
Oh, I didn't know. I think our quarterbacks like shit. I think that's what I heard. Like all the quarterbacks suck. But, like, who knows? Anyway, if I had to make a choice, I think I would take Jared Goff here still because it's really all dependent on where this first is. And I bet if they're trading their first for it, they're going to be all right. So I'd take Goff. I would. I
feel like you could almost get a better than
for
Goff
a first?
For a first.
Is that true? Like, who? That's actually that's a fun point that you brought up. Like, who do you think you would get that's better? Like, would you take Dak over Goff?
100%.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. I'm just asking the question here. All right. So you'd give a first for Dak then? I think I would give a first for Dak. Yeah, 100%. Like, if I would much rather give this first for Dak. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think you could do solo first for Trevor still.
He's cheaper than Dak.
But you're right. If I could give a first for Lawrence or Dak, I would obviously do that over Goff. The only issue is I think Goff's going to be in a stable spot for a long time at this point. So
maybe even like one of the rookie quarterbacks too, like Drake May.
You think you should give a random 25 for Drake May? I don't know if that's true. It would be worth a shot, but I almost think I'd rather have Goff than May.
What about Kirk Cousins? Who do you value more in your team?
Jared Goff, definitely. I think maybe Kirk outscores him this year, but I think a little bit more longevity on Jared Goff than there is on reasonably young. Like, he's not young, but he's got some years left on him. That's why I have a hard time giving him away for just a first.
If he keeps playing the way he's playing.
True. Very true. Because last year, I mean, his value was pretty low. Like, he popped off this year in comparison to what people thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
I believe this is the last one. Kind of a fun one. We got Trey Benson and 2 future seconds for Saquon and a 26th third. What do you think of this one? I know where I'm at. What do you think? And if you don't know, I can go.
I don't really know, but off the top of my head, I'm taking Saquon. Just the better player.
I think I disagree. I think Trey Benson is good, and I think he'll be playable this year. Not Saquon Barkley playable, obviously, but I think once Connor is gone, or even next year when he's still there, he'll be getting even more reps, and I think he's going to be good. I think he's landed in a great spot. Cardinals run the ball pretty well, and getting the 2 seconds on top of that, I'll take that. I think it'll end up being just fine, because I'm a type of guy who likes to flip picks, man, and these picks are going to get flipped if they need to.
Yeah, you could probably trade the 2025 second for Barkley next year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you just get him back. So I think I go left side here.
Yeah, winning right now, I'm going Barkley.
That's fair.
That's
a fair play.
My initial thought, but yeah, if I'm just trying to stay good longer, then I do think Trey Benson and the picks are like the better option.
Yeah, it's hard to say. All of these are kind of, we've been going off of like just no team. We don't know what these people's teams look like.
One sec. Okay.
All right.
You still know your train of thought?
I think general thing. It is kind of tough because for all these, we haven't really had, teams to go off of. We kind of just doing in a vacuum or speculating what the situation might be. So I think maybe if we saw the teams, it'd be like, oh yeah, like this trade's much better or that trade was much better. But I think for what we had, we did an all right job.
Well, that was This or That on the Pigskin Pals podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to be doing a mock draft
Make.
for our own, like a dynasty startup, which I've been craving. I actually haven't done one in a long ass time. Like,
True.
The last time we drafted was 2 years ago. Startup. So I'm looking forward because I do have like a new mindset of dynasty.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious to see how my team is going to turn out. So
I agree.
stay tuned for that one. Thanks for tuning into this. See you guys
later.
in the next one.